Welcome to your guide to library resources. My name's Catherine, and I work on the Manhattan campus.
And I'm Summer, and I'm from the Long Island campus.
And we're your friendly New York Tech reference and instruction librarians who will be guiding you through today's session. Our jobs are all about making your research process less daunting, less confusing, and more fun, and we hope this video helps do just that. By the end of this session, you should have an understanding of the basics of academic research, how to develop a research question and create keywords, applying keywords to searches, searching effectively by narrowing your topic, choosing the right databases, the difference between academic and non-scholarly sources, and citation. Already sound like a lot? Never fear, because your library is here to help. We're available on both the Manhattan and Long Island campuses. Manhattan is located on the second floor of 1855 Broadway, and Long Island has 3 different options: Salton Hall Library, the Medical Library, and the Art and Architecture Library. Hours for each individual location are always available on the homepage of our website, which you can reach through the main New York Tech site by going under Academics and selecting Libraries. There are a couple ways to get in touch with us once you're here. If you're online Monday through Friday, anytime between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., you can use our live chat function to talk with a librarian in real time about any kind of question or issue you may have. You're also welcome to email us, and someone will get back to you in a timely manner.
Did you know that librarians are available for appointments both virtually and in person? If you'd like to meet with one of us one-on-one, you have the option to make an appointment with a librarian at a time that works for you. Whether you're reaching out to us digitally or in person, there are people available and excited to help you at any stage of the research process. If you'd like to book an appointment, simply go to the library page, scroll down below the search bar, and click the widget that's labeled Make an Appointment. Once you're on this page, you'll see information about what encompasses a one-on-one research consultation, as well as links for booking. You'll see the schedule for different librarians at different spaces, such as Salton Hall, New York City Library, or the medical libraries, and you'll be able to book a librarian by clicking this link here. And you can book either by name, subject, or time. All you'll need to do is click the librarian's name, select a date that works for you, and a time that they're available. Once your session is booked, you'll receive a confirmation email, and if you need any further assistance, you can reach out to us either by live chat or by Ask a Librarian. Once you've booked your research consultation, we'll be happy to talk to you about all of your research needs, whether it's writing and citing for an assignment or how to search the library catalog. We're here for you. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of research work, let's talk about a couple of other features that are available on the library homepage. Once you've gotten back to the homepage, if you scroll down below the search bar, you'll notice a couple of other widgets, like the Make an Appointment page. Some important ones to note are the Video Instruction tab. Here you can see a lot of videos that our librarians have crafted specially for you. If you have a question, that might be answered here on our video page. Here we have videos that are typically between 30 seconds to 2 minutes long, and they feature information such as how to find library research guides, how to reserve a study space, using the journal finder, how to locate articles by DOI, which we'll go over in a second. You'll also be able to find these videos on our YouTube page. Next, let's talk about how to book a study room. If you click this link, you'll be able to see spaces available at both Manhattan and Salton Library. Salton Library has study pods available, which are noise-proof and convenient for small study groups. Manhattan Library also has some study rooms available, which you can book by using the calendar here. All you'll need to do is select an empty space and then submit your information such as your NYIT email and any members of your group that will be attending. You'll receive a confirmation email, and then you're all set to go. Next, let's go over how to search for an article by DOI or PMID. A DOI, or Digital Object Identifier is a unique number that identifies electronic items like journal articles, which you'll encounter a lot in your academic career. So in order to find an article by DOI, all you'll need to do is click this link beneath the search bar, paste the DOI or PMID into the bar, and there you'll have your article. If we have access to it through our library system, you'll be able to download the PDF or click a link to it right here. Otherwise, you'll be able to search the catalog for where other libraries might be able to have it, and possibly paste an interlibrary loan request. Which brings me right to the next widget. Here on the library homepage, the interlibrary loan link will bring you to information about requesting articles that our library might not have access to. If you're looking for something and you can't find it here, don't lose hope. You'll be able to request articles and books through interlibrary loans. We have agreements with other libraries where we can request items that we might need for our students and faculty. You can fill out the form either directly through the catalog when you find the item, or by clicking through these links. On the left, you'll see the article request, and on the right, you'll see the book request. Requests can typically take between 2 to 3 business days for articles, and for books, it may take up to 2 weeks, depending on where the book is shipping from and how rare the book is. But all you'll need to fill out the form is the journal title, the author, the article title, the volume, date, page range, and of course, your information. You'll need your name and your NYIT email address in order for the request to be processed. Please remember to make sure that you insert your NYIT email address here, otherwise we won't be able to fulfill the request. Some final important links that I'd like to point your attention to before we talk about research is on the right-hand side of the webpage under this Explore tab. Here, the most important links that I'd like to show to you are the Innovation Labs link as well as the Research Assistance link. First, under Innovation Lab, you'll find information about 3D printing as well as electronics that we have that are in circulation for you to borrow. If you're interested in 3D printing, you can make a request by clicking the 3D printing link here, and you'll be able to see that we have 3D printers at both the Manhattan Library and the main library at Salton. In order to make a request, all you'll need is your NYIT email and an STL file to send to the printer. Here in the Research Assistance tab, you'll find a lot of useful information while you're working on a project. This link is a one-stop shop for a lot of helpful tools throughout that process, including librarian-curated subject guides and citation assistance. If you're stuck on how to cite an MLA, APA, or any of the other popular citation styles, you'll be able to find information here under the Writing and Citing tab. We have links to basic guides, some helpful websites such as Purdue OWL, that'll be able to assist you through your writing process. And if you need further assistance with writing and citing, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. You'll be able to get some help really quickly through the live chat system, or you can shoot us an email or book an appointment with us. We're always happy to help.
Without further ado, let's get started on the basics of research. You may be wondering where to start when tasked with a big project or paper. The libraries at New York Tech are an excellent place to start, even if you're unsure of what you want to research. The first step in research is developing a research question. Look at the assignment and ask yourself, what do I bring to this assignment? How can my unique interests and passions tie in with the overall question my professor is asking of me? For example, in this seminar, you may be asked to write about the aftermath of the Hurricane Katrina or Sandy disasters. As a medical student, you may be interested in discussing how emergency first responders handled outreach and deployment during the disaster. Or, if you're in the counseling or psychology majors, you might be interested in researching the impact such events have on school-age children. Whatever your personal research interests might be, asking yourself these questions before you begin working will help you feel more engaged with the project and will give you a unique perspective in your work. When you've thought of an approach to the assignment that interests you, then you can begin formulating your research question. So let's say I'm interested in researching the environmental impact of Hurricane Sandy. My research question might be, how has Hurricane Sandy, a storm strengthened by recent environmental crises, uniquely impacted the New York, New Jersey area? Now that I have my research question, my next step would be to break down that question into keywords that I can use to research my topic with. From my research question, I might want to use the keywords Hurricane Sandy, environmental impact, and New Jersey, New York.
Something very important to note when you're researching is the flexibility of keywords, especially when searching academic databases. If one combination of keywords doesn't work, try synonyms, try combining them in different orders, and try different words altogether. Remember, a keyword that works for one database may not work for another, and vice versa, so it's important to know ahead of time that research is often a trial and error process. A helpful tool for creating keywords that I use in research is creating a chart full of keywords and synonyms. You'll see in this chart that I typically take a research question and break it down into 3 to 4 different keyword chunks. Then I'll create the chart and break down those keywords into different synonyms and similar words that might assist me in my research process. Please feel free to take this chart and use it in your own research. You can take any idea that interests you and break it down in your own time. I'll be including this resource at the end of our video, so please feel free to take it and use it to your convenience. Now, for this seminar, let's take the keyword environmental impact, for example. A synonymous keyword that I might place in my keyword chart would be climate change. So for example, right now I'm in the Gale database, and if I put in the keyword Sandy, you'll see that it brings up a lot of different search results that aren't exactly related to what I'm looking for. But if I clarify that keyword and instead put in Hurricane Sandy, you'll see that my search results now are a lot more defined and more helpful for what I'm looking for. There are better ways to refine this search too. If I'm looking for specific information about Hurricane Sandy, I'll want to add that into my combination of keywords too. Okay, so once I've got my keywords in mind, now I can begin searching with the NYIT website. We've talked about this search bar here before, but let's talk about these individual tabs here. We've got OneSearch, Books and Media, Articles and Databases, Journals, and Guides. When searching for research materials, it's important to know that OneSearch is all-encompassing search tool. It searches both information that the library has access to, as well as information, articles, and books that are available via other institutions. This is important to know because conducting a OneSearch search as your first step in research may yield you a lot wider search results than you may be ready for. It'll also show you things that we might not have access to. So if you're specifically looking for things that we have and you're in a rush, using OneSearch as your first step might not be the best idea. However, using OneSearch can be a great first step in research when you give yourself enough time. Searching from a large search pool and then narrowing your search down throughout the process can be helpful in developing your idea further. But if you already have a really clear idea of what you need, you may have some more luck searching directly through articles and databases. This is especially true if you already know which kind of database you'd like to search through. But for now, let's start our search through OneSearch. I'm going to use the keyword Hurricane Sandy first. You'll see that my search results are yielding quite a number of results that aren't exactly what I'm looking for. Back to my research question, I'm looking for the environmental impact that Hurricane Sandy had on the United States. So the vague term Hurricane Sandy is probably not the best to use when I'm searching so broadly. So instead, I'm going to refine my search to Hurricane Sandy and impact. You'll see now that this has significantly narrowed down my search results by quite a few thousand. Now, 2,000 is still pretty overwhelming to look at, so I'm going to narrow my search even further by going to the top of the page under the Advanced Search link, and I'll narrow down my search there. For example, if in an academic project I'm asked to use a peer-reviewed article or a scholarly article, here's where I'd be able to find that. Right underneath the search bar, you'll see a checkbox for peer-reviewed, so I'm going to click that. Let's say I also want something that's been published within the last 5 years, so I can scroll down to publish date, select past 5 years, and then we can press the search bar again and see how that narrows our results. Now we only have 52 search results left, and we know that these are trustworthy peer-reviewed articles in our searches. I'm pretty satisfied with this search, so I'm going to pick one of these articles for us to look at. Now, as a medical student, I may be really interested in the long-term impacts of Hurricane Sandy. So this article, Long-Term Impact of Hurricane Sandy on Hospital Admissions, seems like a pretty good bet. If I want to read this article, you'll see underneath the catalog listing it says Access Now. I can click this link and it'll lead me directly to the database where the article is available through our subscriptions. You'll see here that I can view the PDF at the top of the page by clicking this link. I can also download the full issue, and I can see information such as the author, publication date, the DOI, right here on the main page. Although you can read the article directly on the Elsevier page here, I always suggest looking at the PDF instead. The reason why is that this is a little bit more accessible for readability, and it also contains helpful information such as page numbers, which may be useful depending on what kind of citation style you'll need to use when you're writing your project. Before we move on in the research process, I'd like to direct your attention to the very last couple of pages on this article. Let's say we read through this article and we're very satisfied with it, and we'd like to read other articles that are extremely similar to it. Just as in your own projects, professionals who write peer-reviewed articles are required to cite all of their sources, and you'll find that in the reference page at the very end of the article. So if you're looking for similar documents instead of readdressing your search, using the bibliography of an article that you've already found is a really useful way of finding good work to look at. You'll see in this PDF that there are direct links to some of these citations, which is super helpful for our search. Otherwise, you'll also be able to find DOIs, which we've already gone over how to search by DOI, so you'll be able to find those similar articles that way. And once again, if there are any articles that you're not able to access through our library subscriptions, you can make a request for those articles via the interlibrary loan link that we've pointed out before. Now that we've talked about how to search through OneSearch, let's go to the Books and Media tab. If you're looking specifically for a printed book or an ebook that we'll have access to, this is your best bet here. Let's continue on with our theme of researching about Hurricane Sandy. So once again, to start, I'll use the simple keyword Hurricane Sandy here, and once again I'm getting quite a few search results back. Now, I can narrow down my search in a couple of ways. For example, I can add impact onto my search keywords, or if I'd like to look at books that are specifically at the Manhattan Library, I can look to the left of this webpage here and select Manhattan Library under the Held by Library category, and I'll be able to see search results for books that are only available at the Manhattan Library. Scrolling down this list, I see one book that talks about how we responded to Hurricane Sandy in New York specifically. This is a great resource for my project, and I'll be able to see where to find it by clicking on the link here. On the right-hand side of the catalog, you'll be able to tell which library the item is housed in, as well as its shelving location. We'll go over the Articles and Databases tab in just a moment, so for the time being, let's instead look to the Journals tab. The Journals tab is particularly useful if you already know the name of the journal that you're looking for. For example, let's say that you get an assignment from your professor to look for a specific article in a specific journal. You're given a citation page with information about the article and its publication date. You'll want to use this Journal tab to look for that journal by name. In continuing with our theme on natural disasters, let's say I want to search for the International Journal of Mass Emergencies and Disasters. I'll paste the title of the journal here and press Search. Now we can see the record for this journal, as well as information about how much access our library has to the journal. You'll see that we have full text access from 2010 to present day through this database. So if I want to search within this journal, I'll simply click that link that has full text access, and then I can search on the right-hand side all of the different issues that we have through our years that we're subscribed to. You'll be able to look through individual issues and publications this way. And finally, let's look at this Guides tab. LibGuides are carefully curated guides put together by our librarians and library staff that can give you context on several different categories. First, we have course guides, so related to different classes you might be taking. We have general purpose guides, which tells you things about the NYIT libraries, alumni access, how to cite, our manga collections, and so on. And we also have different subject guides, which will point you in the direction of resources for each subject that you might be looking into. For example, if I'm looking for information on environmental databases, I can click the Environmental Research tab here, and that should point me in the direction of some databases I can search. Now, I'd like to direct your attention to the most important link on this page. On the right-hand side, you'll see the A to Z database list. If you already have a database in mind when you begin your research, the A to Z database list is the way to go. Here you can sort through our databases alphabetically, by subject, and so on, and you'll be able to find the database that you need pretty quickly. If I'm looking for Academic Search Complete or EBSCO, I'll search A, and it'll be right there at the top. If you're interested in looking in a specific subject, say psychology for reference, you can search the psychology databases up at the top, and you'll see that our librarians have selected some of their favorite databases at the top here.
Okay, so let's begin searching some of our academic databases here at New York Tech. What's important to note about these databases is that they will often contain journals with peer-reviewed articles. These articles have gone through the aforementioned rigorous vetting process before they are published. If a professor asks you to use academic or scholarly sources in a project, a peer-reviewed article is often the way to go. Let's talk about how to find peer-reviewed articles, as well as look at alternative sources and how to evaluate those as well. So we're going to get started here on the New York Tech Library homepage, and we're just going to go into articles and databases and then click search all. So as you can see, we subscribe to 225 databases total. This is both a blessing and a curse, perhaps. You have access to a lot of really good, well-vetted quality information, and that's very exciting. It can also be kind of intimidating and stressful figuring out where to start, but don't worry, I promise we're gonna get where we need to go. So just want to point out a good place to start if maybe you're not sure how to navigate, not sure exactly what kind of database you want to look at. Checking out our featured databases over here on the side. As described, these are the most frequently used databases at New York Tech. And we're just going to pop into Academic Search Complete first, which we can see is a multidisciplinary full-text database. And we're going to see what that looks like in there. Boom. Okay, so we're in Academic Search Complete. I'm just going to do a search using a combination of those keywords we were discussing before, doing Hurricane Sandy with New Jersey, seeing what comes up. So we can see that there's 589 results, and if we want to make that a little more manageable, going over to the left side here, looking at our limiters or our filters, I'm going to check full text just to make sure that we have total access to the sources. I'm also going to do peer-reviewed, which, if you recall, just means that we are going to get search results that have gone through that academic or scholarly publication process, where each piece has been read and vetted by other experts within that academic or disciplinary field. You can see that brings it down to 75. I'm going to do a little bit more. Let's say that I want some more recent data or some more recent studies done on the impacts of Hurricane Sandy. You're going to limit us to 2021 to 2024. And we can see that that brings it down to 13, so much more manageable, very specific. And just looking here, going into the result page, some elements that I always like to point out. Looking at the subject terms that are provided in an article, you can see wetlands, simulation methods, property damage. These are getting more specific than what we had at the start, which was just Hurricane Sandy and New Jersey. And so that can potentially give ideas for where we want to narrow our focus. Maybe we want to look at structural, like this article is talking about structural damage. We want to look at property, and maybe that's going to link us to, a more architecture, logistical focus. So that is something to always look at. If you're interested in seeing the source of where a specific article comes from, you can see that this came from a publication called Scientific Reports. It's from 2021, so pretty recent. And over here on the right-hand side, looking at tools. So the ones that I always want to point out include, if you're ever just looking to save an article for later that you want to come back to, I always recommend the permalink option. So this generated URL is what you're going to want to save if you want to come back to this page specifically. Copying and pasting what's in that URL box up there is not going to link back to the same page because it is tied to this specific search session that we are in right now. So looking for a permalink or get link option that's usually available, looking for that is paramount. And also like we said before, there are these citation generator tools that are often available, and depending on what kind of style you use, you can utilize this for sure. It's a good basis, essentially, for getting your citation ready. What we always recommend is, of course, double checking your work against what the database or what the system has provided you. In my own experience, even just copying and pasting these, some of the specifics, like having this italicized, sometimes it doesn't always translate when you're copying and pasting, so making sure that those stylistic rules are being kept in the citation that you end up providing in your final assignment. So this looks good, right? Where to next? Another database that we recommend is Opposing Viewpoints, right here. This is a really good database for getting the full picture around an issue. You're going to get lots of different perspectives and a very well-rounded, ultimately, perspective about different topics. So, same thing that we were doing before, going into advanced search. And I'm just interested in doing the exact same terms that we used before. So Hurricane Sandy and New Jersey. Okay, so we're finally here. As we can see on the right side, we've got a lot of the same filters for our results. We can select by publication date. We can look in the subject list, which get real niche, real specific, so that's definitely a good place to look if we're still sort of figuring out where we want to focus or what we want to look at in relation to Hurricane Sandy. You can go into document type, and you can see that there are sort of many more options in Opposing Viewpoints. We get, again, real niche. We have full text, peer reviewed, but I'm not going to go into any of that right now, and just show how the results are presented differently in Opposing Viewpoints. So you can see here at the top that academic journals are all grouped together. So these are going to satisfy the need for academic or scholarly sources. And even past that, we can see that things get a lot more interesting. We've got images, we've got access to videos, we can look at audio files. You can see that here it gets a lot more expansive when you get to news or magazines. And I'm just gonna pop into the news results. So, looking at some of these results, I'm just going to pop into this article here, and just to talk about how to evaluate some of the sources that you're getting materials that aren't strictly from academic or scholarly publications. For example, the New York Times here, obviously we all know what the New York Times is, right? But if we look at its listing in Opposing Viewpoints, you can see that there are subject headings in here that give you a bit of an idea. We do have news, also have opinion and commentary, general consumer interests. So obviously this is speaking on how the material that's coming from this source is not going to be strictly factual or informational, right? It's not coming from an academic place. Some of it may be influenced by opinion or by personal bias, and that's going to be something that you want to take note of when you're just looking at where something is coming from. Like I said, New York Times, something that maybe we have a little bit more initial background information on, but if it is coming from something that you're not as familiar with, doing just this basic analysis, investigation, seeing what you can find out about what is the purpose of this source, what is the purpose of this publication, where you're getting this resource from, that's going to be helpful in figuring out sort of how you can use it to inform your own thinking, if it's something that you can utilize as a resource in an assignment, or if you maybe just want to have it inform your own thinking about the assignment and not necessarily use it within a paper. But that is something important to note when, especially you're in a database like Opposing Viewpoints that is not entirely originating from academic or scholarly sources. So back on the main databases page, I just want to point out some other ways that you can use to sort of explore and find a database that works for you and your subject and what you're trying to research. So I want to bring your attention to the subject groupings that we have, and we're just going to pop into science and technology. So as you can see, there's 21 databases. You have the librarian here, Rosemary, who is your contact point specifically for the subjects of science and technology, though I should also note that you can truly talk to any of the librarians on staff about most subjects. So you can see that we have a listing here of all the databases pertaining to that subject. Want to point out at the top the best bets box. This box won't appear in every subject grouping listing, but they do appear in a lot of them, and they are just a good place to start if you know that you're in the right subject area, but you don't want to go through this whole list of databases that we have available. The best bets options are just going to, it is what it sounds like, they're the best bets. These are databases that are chosen by the librarians familiar with this subject area as just being really good, solid options for conducting research. But just to give you guys a taste of another format of a database, we're going to pop into biological science, which is hosted under ProQuest. So we're in, and ultimately what I really just want to emphasize by going into yet another database, I realize this might be dragging on your attention a bit, but I promise it will all serve a greater purpose, is to show that even though the format here is different, it's a different database, we haven't been in it before, it still is made up of all essentially the same parts as the other searches and databases that we've looked at so far. So you can see that they have the basic search, advanced search, we have our familiar full text and peer-reviewed options. If you go into advanced search, it's already there. I've got Hurricane Sandy, and we're seeing behind the scenes here. So it's a lot of the same filters, right? We're looking at source type, document type. We can select the publication. And all of this is just to show you that once you're familiar with these basic sort of parts of the whole that make up a database, and if we just pop into a result here and make up these sources that you can find with library resource or through library tools, once you have those basics down, you can really go ham and explore. And as we can see here, we've got citation generators. We're familiar with those. We know what to do with that. We've got the special permalink copied right here so we can access this page again. So even though it looks slightly different and there are some different elements, such as here we've got a suggested sources box, shows you some related content. Maybe that will be interesting and lead us to a good place. Subject with indexing terms. Again, this is all just helpful in finding out if this is going to be a helpful source for you. That's kind of it. Just wanted to give you guys a good sense of how to navigate databases, and hopefully we're feeling good. Let's move on, shall we?
If you take anything away from this video, you should know that we are always here and available to answer your questions at any time. You're not bothering us, and there's no wrong time in the research process to check in. It doesn't matter if you're struggling to pick a topic or if you need help with just one last push to get through that research paper. We'll be happy to talk through your issues and meet students right where you're at. Again, you can reach us in several ways. That includes our online chat, which is available anywhere on our website between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, making a one-on-one librarian appointment, which can be found through the contact tab on our homepage or below the search bar, as well as just walking in and talking to one of us right in person. For our library hours, our homepage is once again your best friend. Beyond this session that you're watching now, we also have a YouTube channel with short, bite-sized videos made by librarians and library staff that highlight quick tips on how to navigate our website and the search process, how to best utilize our tools and resources, and how to conduct effective research skills. We are always working to expand the offerings on this channel, so be sure to subscribe and check back on content regularly. If you'd like a refresher of anything that's been discussed in today's lesson, we've also attached a Jeopardy game to test your research skills at the end of this video.
And to close out today, please remember that you are encouraged to reach out to us at the library anytime during your time here at New Year Tech. The earlier the better. Again, I'm Catherine, and I can be found on the Manhattan campus at 1855 Broadway on the second floor. We hope we've helped demystify the library and your research process today, and we are looking forward to seeing you soon.